In today's episode, we're talking with Jeff, who's a seasoned player in the banking and investment industry. So after 28 years in finance and also experiencing the ups and downs in the market, including the '08 crash, Jeff's already been able to cash flow $7,000 per month with his new venture. We're going to talk about his investing journey and also the lessons he learned along the way in past market cycles. He puts on a masterclass on how he's been able to consistently earn him 5-star reviews and also substantial profits. So with that being said, let's get right into the episode. All right, we got Jeff here. Thanks for joining us, Jeff. Just wanted to talk about your experience. You've been Vet Property live here for a few months, and so just really wanted to get to understand, your journey, your background and all that. So we'll start there. What, if you don't mind, just kind of going over your background, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so I've been in the banking industry, investment industry for going on, I think, 28 years. MBA in business, that's been my forte this whole time. I've always, in the 2008 crash, that's when I was an investor. I was actually living in Phoenix, and that's when we saw 46% appreciation in 1 year. And so I was taking advantage of that, but I wasn't prepared for the fall. And so when that happened, it really sunk me financially. And I started to go by the old mindset of debt-free, make sure you have a clean mortgage, all of those kinds of things. I just started living that kind of lifestyle since 2008. I max out my 401k. I max out my IRAs every year. I just turned 52 last week, and I'm realizing, mainly because of that crash, but I'm in no place to retire. And I'm in no place to control that either in what I'm doing, because I'm investing all I can, but I'm not catching up to where I need to be. So that's really my background. And, I'm not one of those people that are on Instagram or TikTok or that kind of thing too frequently. But a couple of the things that you had said when I came across your Instagram made a lot of sense to me. And, a lot of things you don't know if it's legit, things like that on Instagram. But I started feeding into your channel. I started watching your other videos. You had a good tutorial on your past. We seen, even though you're younger than me, we were similar in our career to where we were making good money, but we weren't controlling our future. And so I thought it was an opportunity to really dive in a little bit about what you had to offer. I signed up for your program just to, join in, listen, see what I could learn. And so got the wheels going. At that point in time, I had a little bit of money set aside that was looking at investing in something. And so I started looking at property. But my wife and I are very, our mortgage is almost paid off and, the whole story. So very apprehensive to go into a mortgage debt. But what I didn't realize was really what all the things I needed to know about what I was thinking about doing. And that's when, following you and watching your course, and I think we were on the phone I think we were on that thing for maybe 2 hours, something like that.
So, one of those things that I want to, kind of dive a little bit deeper on, obviously you talked about your background, you've kind of been through the real estate cycle, the '08 crash. So what are some of the lessons that you're going to take, in your investing journey moving forward that you learned from that '08 crash?
Well, I'm definitely, one of the biggest things is that, because I'm in a particular situation where I'm looking at investment properties versus the arbitrage yet. And so what I really try to do is pay attention to the values of properties to make sure they just didn't skyrocket at one point because of something in that area going on, like, the east side of, not really the east side, but close to the east side of Austin, they've got the Tesla factory that's up and going and building more and more. So is there going to be a spike, and then is it going to flatline and go down? Could the market change it? So I'm definitely looking at the fact that I want to be a conservative investor when it comes to the properties. I don't want to take the chance and go too high on the value of a property, thinking that it's always going to pay off if there's another crash. Looking at the kind of the line of the value of it, if it's gone up, the consistency percentages of the last few years, then I feel safe that if the market happens and goes down, then I should still be okay. That's one of the things I've looked at. And the other thing is, from an investment standpoint, not having the most expensive house on the block from that perspective as well, because that's the one that's probably going to take the biggest hit when the comp values come in of other sales over a period of time. And then I'm looking at, from just a visual, as what I learned from you is looking at what is the experience like of the property that we're looking at before you put anything else into it. What experience are you selling in that area? What experience are you selling in that property? And that's really, something that I had no idea, never thought about. I don't know why I did, because as I travel for work, I love staying at really nice hotels because the customer experience is great. They always have a gym for me. There's always, a restaurant I can eat in the hotel. It's really nice. And I'm getting an experience. So I don't know why I never thought about that when I was thinking about an investment property until I learned that from you. And I'm like, oh yeah, I got to create the experience. And so even the property I have now down in Galveston, that's been my focus 100% is the experience I'm providing. You saw my place. You gave me a lot of recommendations on, hey, you really need to redo and upscale this property, which I'm working on and putting in different things into the house. But at the same time, I'm giving the experience, which is really helping drive my 5 stars every single time. I just got one today. I got another 5-star today. Haven't had anything below a 5-star this whole time. So it's been awesome.
Awesome, kind of backstory on that. A lot of good nuggets in there as well. Just, taking feedback instead of, taking it personally. That's a good segue though. So how did you go from, finding your property, you said it was in Galveston. So what made you kind of attracted to that market? And then how did you find that particular property in that market?
So what first attracted me to it is we were going on a cruise a year ago, a family cruise, and it was going out of Galveston. And so it was our first time there. I drove down. As we're driving down there, we're hitting cities along the way on the water. And I'm like, this is, it's a pretty cool spot, and I like to fish. So I was thinking, I bet you there's a lot of people come down here and fish. And then I bet you there's a lot of people. There's a cruise every week going out. How many people come down and spend a day or two at Galveston on the beach before taking their cruise? And so there was a lot of things that told me that there's a lot of people going into that area and just, spending time, vacation during the summer. There's a big biker rally in November that's there. And then it kind of tees off during December, January. And then once March comes back, it's spring break, right? For the locals. Or Houston. You have a major city in Houston that's within a 50-minute distance, which means that if they want a staycation, they're going to stay around Houston, Galveston if they want the water, or they're going to go to the hill country, one or the other. But it's there with a big city and a huge population. And so those are the things that I kind of got attracted to the area based on that. And then the property wise, I got a realtor. She knew that market well. She was showing me the price points that I would be looking at, which was, in between $380 and $460, because I did your mapping and it was the 2 to 3 bedroom was the best sweet spot in that area because the percentages were lower than 25%. But I didn't want to get too big because they were just so expensive when you got up in that higher rooms. And so when she was showing me the property, I was thinking, okay, but where is there an advantage from an investment standpoint that I can get ahead of the market a little bit? And we found a property that was $80,000 below price because it was as is. It needed work on it. Didn't know how much work, but I got an inspector to come in and tell me all the things that he's seen from a repair standpoint. And then I went in and looked at it from an attractiveness standpoint, or what I would do differently to make this an attractive property for someone. And my numbers, being, in that range, I was at half the price it would take me to upgrade it. So I was already getting equity in the property even by putting money into it. And that's before the value of the house would go up from the work. So to me, that was the sweet spot. And so purchased a property. It was already an Airbnb. They had a 5-star rating already on the property. And so I could see their performance on the property already. And so that's when I decided to pull the trigger. We closed in the end of June. I think we closed on the 28th and we had someone in there on the 29th staying.
It was as turnkey as it comes, it sounds like.
Yeah, turnkey. I mean, there are things in the house that needed to be done that no guest would ever see, but I knew it needed to be done. Right. So I knew I had a laundry list of things to get done.
So, what are some ways, I know you touched on this, but, you're always thinking about it from the guest experience, which is, it's crucial in the short-term rental game. Just, the little things that you don't really think about that can make or break a 5-star review. Right. And so, what are some things that you're going to do to the property, now that you've closed on it, really increase that revenue and also just make it an overall great experience for your guests?
Yeah. So from an aesthetics perspective, there was carpet in a couple of bedrooms. I pulled up the carpet in bedrooms and I put in, you can feel the grade in it, 5-inch vinyl tiling in there to make it look from an aesthetic standpoint. I'm redoing the kitchen, but the kitchen's small, so that budget's probably not even going to go over $6,000 for me to do the whole kitchen redone. I've added some things. I painted a couple rooms. We went down there on a vacation and I painted a couple rooms at night to give it some more aesthetic to it. And then most importantly, what I did from an experience perspective is I put in a new foosball table upstairs. It's funny when people come in, I did what you said, and I put in a ring outside, but where the ring is, you can hear a little bit of the inside. You can hear them slapping the foosball table. So it's like the first thing kids go to is straight to the foosball table. And then downstairs, what I do is I put in, it's outside, with all the pillars, the pier pillars. What I do is I put in a ping pong table. I built a little shed area inside underneath there, and I have a grill in there, really nice grill in there that I found really cheap, actually. Make sure it's always supplied with tons of stuff for the beach, the bag drop, I forget what it's named, cornhole. I have cornhole out there. I have a hook and ladder game out there. There's tons of stuff that attract people to want to do it. There's a local pool that's close if they don't want to go to the beach, and $400 was a great investment for the whole year. So there's a pass there for them. When the people walk in, they see, what I do is I have 3 different kinds of water, flavored waters out, graham crackers, popcorn, just a couple items to give them that at-home feel and that they're more appreciated. And then I have all the stuff downstairs, and all my pictures show it. You see the steaks cooking on the grill. I'm trying to get that experience of a true vacation, but it's still a home kind of experience. So that's really what I've worked on from that standpoint of making that experience that you always talk about. And then it's the feel-good stuff. Like I have all of my emails set up, automatic emails that you talked about it being a big thing. They love it. They absolutely love it. They're always like, thank you for the great communication. Thank you for the quick response. It's all on point. And all my responses are with my wife. My wife's name is Stella, right? Yeah. And it just gives that comfort. It all works. Everything you're saying, it works. And then I've brought you all the links to your suggestions for the beaches. I've bought some of those items from the different places like Target and Wayfair and all of those things. So I followed your book and it's working. Can't wait to do it on the next property.
Yeah. And, a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm just going to Airbnb this old, dinky, second house that I have, in the family from generations ago. And like, sure, that can be great, but everything that I just listed out, over the last few minutes, like there's so many little things that go into this business that a lot of people don't consider. And when they're not getting bookings or like, what's going on, like, Airbnb's dead type of thing, right? There's a strategy behind everything that we do, and it all starts from the guest experience. So love that you're thinking it from their perspective. And then obviously you haven't had anything below a 5-star review, which is evident because of, all the things that you've done to the property.
And it's my connections too, right? So I have a cleaning lady who actually was the person who cleaned the house before, and she hated the owners, hated the property, but she did it. And then she laid in and she just basically broke down everything she knew that was wrong with the house the first day we met. I said, please walk me through the house. Tell me what you don't like. And I wrote everything down. I make sure she has all the supplies she needs all the time. She's well stocked on supplies, sheets, blankets. Like you said, it makes a huge difference if you got good mattresses, a nice blanket, that duvet. Thank you. And so I made sure, when I got a hold of that property, that was the very first thing I came in. I went to, IKEA and just bought everything I needed, drove down there. My car must have weighed a lot from all that weight. And I just redid everything right away. And so those things make a big difference. And she's engaged now, my cleaning lady. She's always there for me. And it's funny, like I'll get her involved. Like she gets happy. She does some really nice properties down and she gets excited. I'm sending her, hey, we're only 1 5-star away reviewing to Superhost. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for us. And she's engaged, right? She wants the place to be nice too. So it's just creating those connections all around to get that and going in the right direction. Because I live in Dallas, so I'm easily 5 hours away. So I have to rely on people down there that care enough to help out.
100%. It's just like, building a good culture, team culture. When they feel like they're part of the team, then they're going to treat it just like your own. And, I think a lot of people like cleaners, number one, your number one most important team member, number 2, handyman. But, usually the cleaners can, if they're well connected and they're, solid cleaner, they can recommend everyone else, within the team as well, which is what we've done on our properties. So definitely a great strategy, pay them well, treat them well, and they'll take care of your property just like you would.
And I see, even the nicer homes, there's some really nice 3-story, $1 million properties that are near us, and they're like a 4.3 rating. And these places are gorgeous, because obviously they're not getting the service that they're looking for, right? So it is about the experience and your communication and all of those things.
Yeah, no, for sure. So if you're comfortable for this property, what is the cash flow numbers looking like for this particular property?
I always focus on the net, right? Because I'm in banking. So I'm always focused on what my final net is. The first 2 months, we were doing just over $10,000 each month. My mortgage is $3,000 on it. So, $7,000 each month's profitability. September was about $8,000. This month isn't as good. We're probably going to balance out about $3,000, but we're net in the positive this whole time on the way through. And I haven't even started making the place look great yet. And I purposely held out from having a professional photographer because I wanted the place to look great before I did a professional photographer and paid that much money. So I actually went to the old photographer who did the house, and I bought the pictures from her for a discounted price that she had on file so that I could post those pictures and at least get some revenue coming in until I got the place fixed up. So next year it's going to be way better. I can actually have a higher price point just because of how the place is going to look when we're said and done. So we're really looking forward to, my wife and I are really looking forward to next year. Our goal is to have all the upgrades that we're going to do done by beginning of February. And so that's what we're on pace to do at this point.
Yeah. I mean, once you kind of start turning those dials, you're just really just going to, like, it makes a huge difference when you just, add the professional photographers, add those amenities, really skyrockets, the revenue. So super excited for that for you guys. So, what are your kind of goals for the next 6 to 12 months? As far as this business goes, are you looking to scale as quickly as possible? Like what's on your guys' roadmap here?
I always say, one thing you mentioned is that you're always going to have someone that may not be 100% in. My wife's extremely conservative in her thought process when it comes to money. So I'm the go. And she's like, well, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. So I've appeased her a bit and said that we're going to finish doing our upgrades on this house before pulling the trigger on the next one. I want to jump property to property when they're ready, when I'm done with the other one, so that I can go to the next one and move on. But I really think right now is the time to buy. So I'm really trying to press it a bit to say, hey, let's take a flyer on one of these that we feel like these are priced correctly. But yeah, so next year, I figure I'm done with this in February. So it'd be nice to pick up at least 2 more properties in the coming year. And I want to look at DSCR loans, where you can do the rents and just be able to purchase that way versus having to put 10% down or 15% down. But that's the direction I'm going here.
Got it. So it looks like you're, all in on purchasing the properties and then scaling your business that way.
Yeah, definitely. I like the arbitrage, but if I have an opportunity to have a property that I can invest and hold, then that's my angle.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, great stuff, man. So, to wrap this up, what would you say to someone that's, kind of toying with the idea of starting their own, Airbnb journey or just business entrepreneurship journey in general?
Well, I think Airbnb, get educated first. If I were to jump into this without spending time with your program, learning a lot from it, at first, at the price, it jumped me. I was like, really? Every penny of it was well spent. I mean, I wouldn't have, beyond that, right? I wouldn't have gotten even my second month of 10K if it wasn't for going in your program, so it was a steal from what I learned from you and your program. So I think the first thing it is get educated as much as you can. It's worth, if you set your LLC up, it's a write-off anyway. Contact your accountant. But there's ways to write this stuff off to where it's a business expense because it's education, right? You're learning. AirDNA is, you have to have AirDNA or you're shooting in the dark and you're only going by what you think that market is, especially if you don't live there. And then, little things like I wouldn't have thought about how to set up my networking, my house cleaners, my handyman, all the people I can rely on, all those kinds of things. And so I think you just, number one, get educated on lending. How are you going to pay for this stuff, right? How are you going to get to credit cards if you don't have cash? What are the right ways to go about it? So all those things is you got to invest in yourself in these programs to learn as much as you can so you can apply them the right way. And then don't say you're going to do 7 and not 10. Do 10. Do it all, because at the end of the day, you're going to win. It's just sticking to it. And you have to take a risk in yourself, right? But if you don't take a risk in yourself, then you're not going to be able to move forward. And I don't think anyone who's successful of all time didn't take a risk in themselves to make those things happen. So I think that is the most important thing. And then it's fun, your entrepreneurial question, it's just fun to know that you're building something that you have complete control of and you're doing it for yourself, no one else. The benefit's going to be you and your family, that's it. And just because you had a bad work day, they can't, hopefully your wife doesn't fire you. So I think at the end of the day, I want to build longevity of my wealth. I want to build this for my son. Even our initials of our business are J, E, and E because Eli, he's the second E. We want to teach them this because we don't want to have him to be independent of anything else. He can go be a ditch digger if he wants, but I want him to be educated and know what's out there for him. He can make that decision. So that's my view.
And also, AirDNA, they released the for sale properties on their latest update today. So I'm sure you'll have fun digging into those numbers here.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, thanks for the time, Jeff. A lot of great insights. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your information, your insights, and we'll have to do this again.
Yeah, definitely, Preston. Thank you for asking me to come on. Appreciate it. Take care.
Yep. You too. See ya.